Have you ever found yourself questioning why, as we get older, things that once seemed incredibly important suddenly lose their grip on our hearts and minds? At 71, many of us, myself included, have asked, why did I spend so much time chasing after things that no longer bring me joy or fulfillment? This thought has crossed my mind more times than I can count, and I know it's a question that many of us face at some point. The good news is that finding the answers to these questions can open up a new, much more liberated chapter of life. As we age, we begin to realize that the things that once consumed our energy, whether it was accumulating material possessions, striving to meet others' expectations, or chasing after achievements that no longer feel meaningful, become less important. In this video, we will take a closer look at 9 specific things that often lose their significance after the age of 71. We'll also explore why releasing these burdens can offer a deep sense of peace, freedom, and fulfillment, something that many of us long for but may not know how to attain. Over time, we learn that letting go of the pressures of society, the obsession with material wealth, outdated ambitions, and even toxic relationships can drastically shift the way we view the world. This process frees us from the weight of expectations, offering us the chance to live more authentically and, most importantly, to live for ourselves rather than for others. This is the time to stop carrying the burden of what you should do and instead embrace what you want to do. By the end of this video, you will have a clearer sense of how to embrace the wisdom that comes with age. You'll discover how to make decisions that align with your true desires and how to let go of past attachments that may have held you back. It's time to open yourself to new joys, deeper relationships, and an overall more fulfilling life. No matter what stage you're at, it's never too late to reclaim your life's true value. The best part of your journey is still ahead of you, and the steps you take today can change everything. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell. This way, you won't miss any of our upcoming content, and you'll be part of a community that's all about growing together. Your support truly means a lot, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and share it with anyone who could benefit from these insights. And if you resonate with the topic of today's video, please comment 1 below. If you don't, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how I can improve and create more meaningful content for you. Let's get started. 1. The pressure of others' opinions. As we journey through life, one of the most profound and liberating realizations comes when we finally shed the heavy weight of others' opinions. It's an awakening that hits with incredible clarity, particularly as we grow older. For so many years, whether consciously or subconsciously, we live our lives through the lens of what others expect from us, be it family, friends, society, or even strangers. We become entangled in the need for approval, constantly seeking validation to feel worthy or successful. This can become an exhausting cycle, a constant chase after something we may never truly catch, leaving us empty and disconnected from our truth. In our younger years, it's almost impossible to escape the pressure of conforming. We follow the path laid out for us, trying to please others, fit into societal molds, and live up to what we believe is expected of us. We think we need to be a certain way to be loved, accepted, or respected. The fear of judgment, of being seen as inadequate, drives us to make decisions based on the desires of others, not our own. And while some might argue that these efforts are noble, they often rob us of the most important thing in life, our true self. But as we enter our 70s and beyond, a miraculous thing begins to happen. We start to understand how unnecessary this constant worrying about others' opinions is. It's not just a small epiphany. It's a monumental shift, one that brings a deep sense of freedom, peace, and release. We realize that, in the grand scheme of things, the judgments of others are often rooted in their fears, insecurities, and projections. People's views of us are tainted by their own experiences and biases. They don't truly know who we are, nor do they have the right to define us. Imagine the freedom that comes when we no longer feel the weight of striving to meet someone else's idea of success, beauty, or happiness. Picture the joy of not needing external validation to feel worthy or whole. In our later years, we begin to realize that happiness is not something that can be dictated by anyone else. It's something we get to define for ourselves. No one else can tell us what is fulfilling or peaceful to us. We have earned the right to choose what brings us joy and to embrace the things that make our hearts sing, no matter how unconventional they may seem to others. This shift is not just about letting go of unnecessary pressures. It's about making space for a deeper, more authentic connection with ourselves. It's about learning to trust our instincts and desires, free from the noise of the world. When we stop seeking approval from others, we find something even more valuable: self-acceptance. It's a kind of acceptance that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion or approval. It's the kind of self-love that feels like a long-awaited homecoming. And here's the most beautiful part. This newfound freedom allows us to cultivate relationships that are real, meaningful, and built on mutual respect. Without the constant need for validation, we can engage with others from a place of honesty and authenticity. We no longer measure our worth based on comparisons or judgments. Instead, we show up as our truest selves, and in turn, we attract people who appreciate us for who we truly are. Letting go of the pressure of others' opinions is not just about feeling lighter. It's about reclaiming our power. It's about standing tall in our truth and walking a path that feels authentic to who we are at this stage in life. We begin to understand that the only person whose opinion truly matters is the one we see in the mirror. As we embrace this profound freedom, we step into a life filled with peace, self-respect, and a deep sense of fulfillment that can only come from living authentically. This shift, this release from the constant judgment of others, isn't just a gift, it's our birthright. And when we embrace it, we open the door to a life that is truly ours, a life lived on our terms. 2. The obsession with material accumulation. As we look back on our earlier years, it's impossible to ignore the immense energy we poured into accumulating material possessions. We worked relentlessly, driven by the idea that more was always better. More furniture, more clothes, bigger homes, and the latest gadgets. There was an insatiable desire to possess things that we thought would bring us happiness, fulfillment, or social standing. We convinced ourselves that owning the biggest house on the block or having the most modern furniture would elevate our lives, make us feel accomplished, and, if we're honest, impress others. But as we find ourselves in our 70s and beyond, we begin to realize a truth that many of us are reluctant to face. All those things we believed would bring lasting joy no longer hold the same significance. The shiny cars, the grand furniture, the newest toys, they start to feel more like burdens than blessings. Releasing the attachment to material accumulation is one of the most liberating steps we can take as we age, yet it's also one of the hardest. There's a deep emotional connection to the things we've worked so hard to acquire. Memories attached to every item and the belief that they define our worth. But as time passes, we begin to see through this illusion. It's the experiences we've shared, the laughter, the love, and the quiet moments that truly matter. Not the piles of unused gadgets or the furniture that was once a symbol of success but now only gathers dust. Those once beloved items, which were meant to bring us joy and security, now seem to serve only as reminders of the unrelenting pursuit of things we were convinced we needed. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Imagine the immense sense of freedom in letting go. The physical clutter, the emotional weight of everything we've accumulated, begins to fade when we choose to release it. It's not about abandoning comfort. It's about creating space for what truly brings peace and happiness. It's about investing in memories, not material things. We start to realize that the true treasures of life aren't found in possessions, but in the moments we share with loved ones, in the hobbies that bring us peace, and in the simplicity of enjoying the present without the constant need for more. This shift in mindset isn't easy. It's a journey that often requires courage and deep self-reflection. But when we stop measuring our worth by what we own and instead focus on what we experience, we create space for a much more fulfilling existence. It's a life that's richer in connection, richer in meaning, and far more peaceful. Letting go of material things doesn't mean we're depriving ourselves of comfort. It means we're embracing a life that's aligned with our true values. It's about living with intention, no longer bound by the cycle of consumerism that once dictated so much of our lives. For me, it's been an incredibly emotional journey. When I let go of the excess, I felt an overwhelming sense of lightness, a relief I hadn't anticipated. I was no longer burdened by the weight of things that no longer served me. What remained were the things that mattered most. The relationships, the quiet moments, the things that filled the heart rather than the house. When we make room for what truly nourishes us, we free ourselves to experience life in a way we couldn't have imagined before. It's a life of connection, of joy, of contentment that goes far beyond anything material. And in that, we find the truest form of happiness. 3. Obligatory social responsibilities. For much of our lives, we've been deeply entrenched in the roles that society has set before us, often without questioning why we continue to carry them. We've felt the weight of obligations that, at one time, felt crucial, attending social gatherings because it was expected of us, participating in community organizations because it seemed like the right thing to do, or maintaining certain societal duties because we feared the consequences of stepping away. These responsibilities, though seemingly important, can sometimes turn into shackles that drain us rather than fulfill us. As we grow older, the realization begins to sink in. These obligations don't hold the same weight they once did. We might have once adhered to societal expectations out of a sense of duty, but now, with the wisdom that comes with age, we see that they no longer serve us in the same way. And let's be honest, for many of us, the emotional and physical energy we've poured into others, our time, our love, our compassion, has left us feeling a bit empty, as if we've forgotten to take care of the most important person, ourselves. We've given so much of ourselves, and it's time for us to reclaim that energy to shift the focus back onto our own needs and desires. The idea of letting go of these outdated societal obligations is, in a word, liberating. It's like breathing fresh air after being suffocated by invisible chains for so long. We come to understand that we no longer need to adhere to roles that bring no joy or fulfillment. We don't have to continue attending every community meeting if our hearts no longer feel the calling. We don't need to force ourselves into social events that feel like nothing more than a tedious chore. And we don't owe anyone our energy when it feels draining or when we are simply not in the place to give. Saying no is a gift we give to ourselves, a way to honor our needs without feeling guilty. By stepping back from these obligations, we create space that we so desperately need, to focus on what truly nourishes us. It's about reclaiming the right to spend time with people who truly matter, the ones who make us feel seen, heard, and loved. It's about pursuing hobbies or interests that excite us, things that make us feel alive. Maybe it's finally taking the time to explore a passion that has long been buried, or perhaps it's allowing ourselves the luxury of quiet solitude, basking in the stillness of our own company. There is indescribable peace in knowing that we don't have to constantly be on for others and that we can be present for ourselves in ways we haven't been in years. Letting go of these outdated obligations is, in essence, an act of self-care. It allows us to focus not on meeting the external expectations of others, but on fulfilling our desires. As we clear away the clutter of imposed responsibilities, we open up the space to create and nurture meaningful relationships that feed our souls. We allow ourselves to engage in activities that align with who we are now, not who we once were. It's about living with intention, about embracing what makes us feel whole, authentic, and fulfilled. And in doing so, we free ourselves from the weight of societal pressures that have long held us captive. This is the beauty of aging. It's the gift of clarity. A chance to look at our lives and decide, with conviction and self-respect, what is truly worth our time and energy. It's about living a life that is guided by our values, desires, and passions, not by the expectations of others. It's about finding joy, purpose, and authenticity in every day, no longer burdened by roles and responsibilities that no longer resonate with us. After all, we've earned this. It's time to live for ourselves unapologetically. 4. The obsession with youthful beauty standards. For much of our lives, society has instilled in us this deeply ingrained and often suffocating belief that youth equals beauty. From the moment we are old enough to notice, we are bombarded with messages that tell us the younger we look, the more valuable we are. The pursuit of eternal youth becomes a measure of our worth, how well we can fight off the inevitable passage of time. We dye our hair to hide the silvery strands that come with age, slather our faces with pricey anti-aging creams, and hit the gym with a kind of relentless devotion, all in the name of preserving that youthful image. We've spent countless years chasing an ideal that, as we come to realize, is fleeting and ultimately superficial. Aging has been portrayed as something to fear, something that strips us of our value and desirability. The idea that beauty is confined to youth is not just a societal norm, it's a trap. It keeps us locked in a never-ending race against time, always measuring ourselves against an unrealistic standard. But then, as we move into our 70s and beyond, something truly liberating happens. We start to realize that those beauty standards we once clung to no longer define us, and they never truly did. The freedom that comes with accepting our age is something incredibly powerful. We can finally shed the exhausting burden of trying to appear younger than we are, and instead, we are given the gift of embracing who we have become, stronger, wiser, more authentic. Instead of pouring our precious time, money, and energy into fighting aging, we can now choose to embrace the beauty that naturally comes with it. Our wrinkles, those gray hairs, the softer lines of our faces, these are not symbols of decline, they are the marks of a life lived. They reflect years of laughter, tears, growth, and transformation. Each line is a testament to a lesson learned, a love shared, a challenge overcome. And, for many of us, these signs of aging are deeply beautiful. They represent authenticity and resilience. They tell the true story of who we are, our personal history, the richness of our lives, and the strength we've cultivated through time. The more we let go of the pressure to cling to a youthful ideal, the more we begin to see the grace that comes with growing older. The constant obsession with youthful beauty holds us back from truly living in the present moment. It ties us to a version of ourselves that no longer serves us. Letting go of this obsession means setting ourselves free from the tyranny of others' opinions. We no longer need to perform or measure up to someone else's vision of perfection. Instead, we can stand tall and proud, celebrating who we are today, right now. We are no longer prisoners to the pursuit of a look that was never our own to begin with. We can finally honor the person we've become, stronger, more peaceful, and more at ease in our skin than ever before. To embrace the beauty of aging is to embrace ourselves, flaws, imperfections, and all. It is to embrace the wisdom that has accumulated over time and the inner strength that has gotten us through life's toughest moments. The beauty of aging is not just a physical transformation. It's a deep, internal evolution that radiates outwards. And once we truly understand this, we realize that no one and nothing can take that beauty away from us. It is ours to keep forever. 5. Continuing activities that no longer bring joy. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As we get older, we often find ourselves still holding on to activities or hobbies that we once enjoyed but no longer bring the same sense of fulfillment. Maybe it's a tradition you've participated in for years, a social club you've been a part of, or a hobby that once sparked excitement but now feels like a chore. For years, we may have pushed ourselves to keep up with these activities because we felt it was expected or simply because we've always done them. However, one of the most freeing realizations that comes with aging is that we don't have to continue doing things just out of habit or obligation. If an activity no longer brings joy or satisfaction, it's perfectly okay to let it go. Releasing the pressure to continue with outdated or tiresome traditions is not only healthy, it's an act of self-care that opens up room for new, more meaningful activities. Perhaps you've been part of a social group that no longer resonates with your current values, or you've been involved in a hobby that has started to feel more like an obligation than a source of pleasure. Instead of forcing yourself to stick with these things, think of this as an opportunity to explore new interests, rediscover old passions, or simply embrace the joy of doing less. Whether it's learning something new, taking up a hobby that aligns with your current desires, or just permitting yourself to rest, you now have the freedom to focus on what truly brings you joy. By letting go of activities that no longer serve you, you can devote your energy to things that make you feel alive, fulfilled, and connected to your true self. Life at this stage is about quality over quantity, and you deserve to fill your time with what truly matters to you. When we stop pushing ourselves to meet external expectations or continue traditions that no longer align with who we are, we make space for authentic joy and a more meaningful life. 6. Toxic relationships. One of the most liberating aspects of aging is the ability to let go of relationships that no longer contribute positively to our lives. For years, we might have tolerated toxic friendships, strained family connections, or even professional relationships that drained our energy, all because we felt obligated to maintain them. These relationships may have been filled with criticism, negativity, or emotional manipulation, but for one reason or another, we've kept them in our lives. Sometimes out of habit, sometimes out of guilt, and sometimes because we felt like we had no choice. But as we get older, we start to realize that we don't have to keep holding on to relationships that leave us feeling drained or unappreciated. Letting go of toxic relationships is an act of self-respect and self-care. It allows us to create space for healthier, more supportive connections, those that lift us, offer kindness, and foster mutual respect. This doesn't mean we have to cut ties with everyone who has ever caused us pain or disappointment. It simply means we have the power to recognize which relationships are genuinely toxic to our well-being and make the decision to step away from them. Whether it's distancing yourself from a critical friend who always has something negative to say or setting boundaries with a relative who constantly drags you down, releasing toxic relationships frees us to build stronger, more fulfilling connections. When we make space for positive relationships, those that are based on love, support, and respect, we create a life that is filled with peace and joy. It's not about avoiding conflict or pretending problems don't exist. It's about recognizing when certain relationships are no longer healthy for us and having the courage to walk away or redefine the dynamic. You deserve to be surrounded by people who respect and uplift you, and as you let go of those who drain you, you make room for the meaningful, loving relationships that truly nourish your soul. 7. Comparing yourself to others. For much of our lives, we've been taught to compare ourselves to others. Whether it's measuring our success by the career milestones of our peers, evaluating our happiness by the seemingly perfect lives of friends or relatives on social media, or feeling inadequate because someone else seems to have achieved more. This habit of comparison often stems from societal pressures, the need for validation, or simply the desire to fit in with others. But as we age, we come to realize that this constant comparison only steals our peace of mind and distracts us from living our unique journey. Moving away from the habit of comparing yourself to others is one of the most freeing decisions you can make. Instead of constantly measuring your success against the achievements of others, you can start to recognize that your journey is unique, and that's something to be proud of. The beauty of life, especially as we grow older, is that we no longer need to measure our worth by anyone else's standards. Our experiences, our growth, and our victories are what truly matter. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, especially when we live in a world that constantly showcases others' achievements. But it's important to remember that everyone is on their path, and what someone else has achieved does not diminish your successes, no matter how big or small. Perhaps your life has taken a different shape than what you once expected, or your journey doesn't look like your friends or your siblings. But that's the beauty of it. It's your story to tell, and it holds immense value. By embracing your path, you free yourself from the need for approval or validation from others. You start to appreciate where you are right now and the steps you've taken to get there. Your experiences, your lessons, and your choices are uniquely yours, and they make you who you are, someone full of wisdom, resilience, and personal strength. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you start to fully embrace your journey, recognizing it as valuable and significant. just as it is. 8. Outdated goals. Throughout our lives, we set goals that felt important at the time, whether it was achieving a certain career milestone, buying a home, or reaching a specific financial target. These goals were reflective of where we were in life and what we valued at the time. However, as we grow older, it's natural to find that some of those goals no longer resonate with our current reality or priorities. What once seemed like a crucial aspiration might now feel irrelevant or even burdensome. Discarding outdated goals is a powerful step toward living a life that is more aligned with your true desires. At this stage in life, it's okay to let go of dreams that no longer serve you or that have lost their meaning. You don't need to keep striving for things that no longer bring you joy or fulfillment. Instead, you can take this opportunity to reassess your values, your passions, and your sense of purpose, and then set new goals that better reflect who you are today. This doesn't mean you have to give up on everything you once dreamed of. It simply means permitting yourself to evolve. Maybe your career goals aren't as important anymore, and you'd rather focus on spending time with family or traveling. Perhaps your financial goals have shifted from accumulating wealth to ensuring your retirement years are stress-free and filled with peace. Whatever the case may be, your goals should be a reflection of your current self, not a set of expectations you feel obligated to fulfill. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. By letting go of outdated goals, you create space for new, more meaningful aspirations that align with where you are in life now. These new priorities can bring more joy, fulfillment, and purpose into your everyday life. It's about focusing on what truly matters to you now and pursuing goals that reflect the person you are today, not who you were in the past. Embrace the freedom that comes with revising your goals and moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose. 9. Regrets from self-sacrifice. Throughout our lives, many of us have spent years sacrificing our own needs and desires for the sake of others, whether it was putting our career on hold for family, prioritizing the happiness of loved ones over our own, or giving up personal goals to meet the demands of others. While acts of selflessness are often celebrated, there comes a time when we must recognize that constantly putting ourselves last can lead to feelings of regret. As we age, it's natural to look back and wonder whether we truly lived for ourselves or if we simply followed a path that was dictated by the needs of others. Releasing the regret of years spent sacrificing our desires is an essential step toward living a more authentic and fulfilling life. It's important to acknowledge that we did what we felt was necessary at the time, and that those decisions were made out of love, care, and responsibility. However, now is the time to forgive ourselves for not always prioritizing our happiness and dreams. Letting go of this regret allows us to stop living in the past and start embracing the present moment. This doesn't mean we stop caring for others or neglect our relationships, but it does mean that we now recognize the importance of caring for ourselves as well. It's about finding balance, understanding that it's okay to put our own needs first sometimes. It's okay to pursue the dreams we put on hold, to focus on our happiness, and to live a life that is true to who we are, not just a life built around the needs of others. By releasing the regrets of self-sacrifice, we open ourselves to new possibilities. We can start living with intention, focusing on what brings us joy and pursuing the dreams that we may have set aside. It's never too late to shift the focus back to ourselves and make the decision to live more authentically. Your happiness matters, and now is the time to honor that, to chase your dreams, and to live the life you've always wanted, not out of obligation, but because you deserve it. As we wrap up this video, I want to take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered so far. We've talked about letting go of the pressures of others' opinions, releasing the obsession with material possessions, and embracing the freedom that comes with discarding outdated goals and toxic relationships. We've learned that aging doesn't have to be about holding on to the past, but about stepping into a life that aligns with our true desires and brings us authentic happiness. So, what have you learned from this video? Is there something that resonated with you the most? Or perhaps one thing you've decided to practice in your own life moving forward? I'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to comment below and let me know one thing you've learned today that you're going to focus on or bring into your daily life. Your insight might just inspire someone else to take that first step toward living more authentically. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support means so much, and it helps us continue spreading these valuable lessons to others. Remember, the best part of your journey is just beginning, and we're here to support you along the way. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.